film as a new space, as a different alternate. There's nothing new about it, and it's been around since the 1890s. Dance on film, but the space of film as an expanded space of performance for dance. It's completely, obviously, different from doing traditional stage performances.
Yeah, when we were planning Opus Jazz and with our director cinematographer, it was like I was impatient, and I wanted to like plan out all the shots and figure out everything that we were going to do, because we were like coming up to when we were shooting, but we didn't have certain locations yet.
Right.
And I think that, and Jody said, he's like, there's no point in making up these shots until we know where we're going to shoot, like what the location is, what it's going to look like, because then we'll, figure out. It's not like we were just.
Jody is your director.
He's a co-director, cinematographer.
Right. Because you work with two directors.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm just relaying a conversation I had with him, and I was like, I really want to, let's plan this out. And he was like, but we don't have a location, let's just, let's wait. And I think that, that was specific to, just our project, but I think with making the film as like a place for dance to be created, like let's say new choreography, I feel like the location aspect, like where you do it, can really play into
how
that.
you shoot it.
Yeah, but also it's like that can be one of the reasons why it's different than choreographing for the stage. It's like if you're choreographing for a film, and you and whether you're doing it in a sound stage or in a studio or in some odd place or in lots of odd places cut together, I mean, that's obviously, I feel like that would be the biggest difference from, from choreographing just in a studio for a theater.
Also
Because
performing.
it makes it, it makes like how you're figuring out the dance, it just makes it different. You have lots of different limitations, but also it could be looked at the opposite way as, a plus.
Hey, Jinga! What the hell? What's going on? What happened? What's going on?
So it was very important to us that, we had rehearsed this ballet when we were dancing it for over a month, which is long by New York City ballet standards. That almost never happens. And, as dancers, you watch the parts that you're not in, you watch them from wherever you happen to be in the studio, or from whatever wing you're waiting to go on, or you experience something from a viewpoint that is inside it. And we saw many really amazing viewpoints and got to understand the choreography from angles that the audience is never privileged to see. And obviously a choreographer creates something so that the audience is getting the best
tableau.
view, the best tableau from that sort of front shot. But we just saw so many patterns and got so many ideas and understood characters, because there is a lot of, even though it's an abstract ballet, there are characters, people that you recognize with human emotions, and things are happening between them. And if you're seeing it from a different point of view, it can change how you experience it. So part of what we wanted to do with this film was to, find those moments that we had seen as dancers and show them to the audience, and maybe tell the story in a slightly different way. But there were also many times in the choreography where, we would say, well, just the sort of straightforward front view is the best view for this moment. But in each, it was very shot listed and planned because we only had one camera. And I think when you see the film, most people think that we maybe just took 7 cameras and just put them around and then had the dancers do it multiple times and then cut it together later, and that's not what we did. It was very planned.
Now, having a good crew, I tell you, makes a big
yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Ones who are agile and they can move around with the camera.
Yeah, so, I mean, in order to sort of like make each movement feel different, and also to almost like hem in the almost limitless creative choices, we decided to shoot each movement in a different style. So the first movement, all the shots are locked off, and the second is almost all Steadicam, and the third is a lot of dolly, and the fourth is all crane.
So it's the site specificity of the space that you had access to, but also the space that the camera creates.
Mm-hmm.
So you have double expansion when you bring the dance outside the theatre. But even when you're in the theatre, when you're sitting in the cheap seats up with the gods, you have a different perspective than when you have, the posh seats. And I think they're kind of boring because you just get the frontal. And, you may have to even, depending on the positioning, tiptoe to see what is going on behind the scene. Whereas the cheap seats are the exciting ones.
One of the movements of our film is it takes place in a theater, and we shot from all different places within it.
The nature of the art form is so body-centric anyway, but that also makes you so dependent on any kind of alterations to your physical instrument.
Yeah.
But you're still expected to perform, the top of
obviously not if you can't.
No, not if you cannot,
Yeah.
but I mean, you need to at least sustain yourself, and if God forbid the injury goes longer, the recovery period is longer than you expect. You hope that when you go back, if you are lucky enough to be a member of the company, for your job to be still there for you.
Yeah. Well, that's, with New York City Ballet, the dancers are very lucky because, there's...
Well looked after.
Yeah. And also our schedule is so difficult. I mean, the company understands that, everyone understands that these kinds of things happen, and people need to fill in for each other at the last minute, and sometimes that's how people get new opportunities, and it helps them with their careers too. So, and I think sometimes for dancers it's good to have a break and have a little time away, and then come back to it with fresh eyes and fresh energy. So it's just a part of the life. But that's what's nice about, I think what's nice about film is just that those performances of all the dancers who are in our film who we love and who we consider our generation, and who we're really proud of and proud to be a part of, just to have that forever, I think makes us really proud.
Because in traditional art history we have the exhibition catalogs, which I think can be either spectacular or fabulously tedious. But there is documentation. So when you do an exhibition, limited time period, 3 months or 6 months at a museum, the catalog serves as a space, which as an instrument that expands the physical parameter of the galleries, and also the duration of the exhibition for as long as you have access to the catalog. So I think that's why I'm so interested in dance on film, and the more integration of this type of documentation of performances.
Opus Jazz, even though it was really hard to make and took a really long time and took a lot of energy, it was very organic. The idea was, it came to us, we developed it, it just happened very organically, and I think we always, even when we were worried that it wasn't going to be good, we kind of always knew that it was a good idea, and that it was, it just felt right. If you think about it, it was kind of an odd thing. But for some reason we were like, this is fine, we can do both at the same time, it's totally fine. Because I think that's because we knew that it was a good idea and that it should happen and that it was possible somewhere. Subconscious, you know.
No, but when I look back on that time, I don't know how we did that.
Yeah, I mean, it was
It's
pretty
really
crazy.
hard.